Hi there, Ronnie here, coming at you with a video. Point of reference. Um, Strange how the things that'll happen that'll make you think of topics. A few months ago, whilst I was in my friendly local gaming store, I got into, um, I guess you would call an impassioned conversation with someone else. Won't mention their name, it's not fair to them. And the thing that he said, which I just thought was hilarious, which is why I laugh at it so much, is he basically turned round and said that his sister, he was running Dungeons and Dragons, and his sister compared Dungeons and Dragons to a board game. And this really annoyed him. I mean, he was getting really angry about it. And I thought about it and thought about it and thought about it. I didn't really. We were getting heated about other stuff, and then he came out with that nonsense, and I was kind of like, yeah, no, don't take the bait. But it made me think. Now, his sister doesn't play role-playing games. As far as I'm aware, she has never seen a role-playing game being played. She hasn't watched any role-playing games being played, be it stuff on YouTube or Critical Role or even in a gaming store. And the only role-playing she's done is games being run by her brother, this guy. Now, he's someone who uses battle mats and so on, and little bits of scenery and minis. And I came to the conclusion that, of course, she was going to see a board game. That she was going to compare D&D to a board game, not only because it's kind of natural to make that leap because they both play at a table, but also if you've never played a role-playing game before, if you've never seen one being played or anything else, if your only experience of a role-playing game is a game that has a board, the battle mat, that has playing pieces, the figures, and you've got dice and you move the playing pieces about and you do stuff with the dice, then there's little wonder why she would make that comparison. Because a board game is her only frame of reference. And frames of reference are so important in gaming, in life. Fun enough, I was watching Obi-Wan Kenobi, and it reminded me of the quote from the character in Return of the Jedi, where he says that many of the truths we cling to depend greatly on our own point of view. And it is true that point of view, our frame of reference, absolutely informs us. And that got me thinking about descriptions. One of the things that used to annoy the heck out of me about a certain online music review thing. Well, it wasn't online, it was teletext service, when that was still a thing. was that the person reviewing albums would always, he would compare these albums with very obscure artists, but in such a way that he thought the comparison was commonplace. You know, oh, it kind of sounds like this really obscure band. And I'm like, well, that's not really helpful in a review. I have no frame of reference. I don't know the band. So it doesn't help if someone says, oh, they kind of sound like that. Well, that doesn't help if you don't know who the hell that is. And we do it a lot. And it's very important in role-playing terms. When we are describing a person, a place, a feeling, trying to generate atmosphere, one way we can use it is to find a shared frame of reference that you can use for a very shorthand descriptor. And it has to be a shared one. I mean, a few times in games when I've been playing on the Monday night game on Pair of Geeks 2, I've made the mistake that I will throw in a comment or maybe quote film or a TV show and everything, and everyone else has just got blank looks on their faces because they have no idea what I'm talking about. And that's down to the fact that there's no frame of reference. They don't have sufficient, they can't make that leap. There's nothing wrong with saying, oh, you enter a town. It kind of looks like, if you've ever seen this film or TV show or whatever, it kind of looks like that. And then people will go, oh. And they've got a mental image. And if you're saying it kinda, it means you can change things about, but at least they've got some sort of mental image, some picture in their head that they can go with. And I think that's really important. I think it's a shorthand, and I think it's very useful for GMs. I think it's very useful for players. If you can find that common ground. Yes, you can go through the sort of longhand of very big descriptions. But shorthand can help. And it's not just about saving time so much, although that is a factor. It's about being able to instill immediately an image, or as quickly as possible, instill an image that helps sort of give a foundation to a place or a person. I mean, sometimes it's easy, some things are easier than others. If you use if you're running a game or playing in a game that's based on a well-known license, such as something based on Star Wars, then it's very easy because you have that shared experience, that shared frame of reference. So you don't have to describe a TIE fighter. You just say, "Oh, a TIE fighter flies by," and you go, "Ah, right, aye." Immediately, you've got that image. I think they're important, and I think they're helpful, and I think they're useful. Unfortunately, there is a downside And this is a downside. It happens more in real life than in game, but it can happen in game, where people make the mistake of assuming that the frame of reference is absolute. Going back to the example of this guy, I think his frustration, misplaced, but I think his frustration was based on the fact that his sister very much treated it like a board game and wasn't really role playing. She was just rolling dice and moving her figure, moving her little playing piece and doing things. There is a tendency sometimes to make assumptions based on an idea. It's why I like the idea of saying it's kind of like this, and then you can pepper it with detail, so you can get a better idea of things without people jumping to wrong conclusions. Atos, I'm looking at you. There's a video I could make right there for my personal file, but I won't for this. But a frame of reference is good. It's useful. In many ways, it's understandable, even if you're I mean, I was talking to the same guy today actually, and he gave me the incredible revelation that Call of Cthulhu, the rule system that Call of Cthulhu uses is the same one RuneQuest uses. He's about 30 odd years too late with that piece of news, for me at least. He seemed quite surprised when I said I'd played it. I have to say, I haven't played RuneQuest in about 30 years. Yeah, it'd be about 30 years as well. I'm counting. Good wee system, but yeah. But anyway, those are my thoughts. What do you guys think? Let me know, and I'll be back soon with another video.